Sheila Fraser. It is indeed a privilege to live in a democratic society that offers Canadians the ability to elect representatives to pursue, protect, and promote our collective interests. The integrity of Canadian democracy is founded upon our individual willingness to engage in this process as electors and elected public servants, as well as critically minded citizens, and upon our commitment to understand the context in which decisions are made on our behalf as individuals, as members of particular constituencies, as Canadians. Competing interests are often at odds with the common good. And yes, even the better judgment of our elected leaders can sometimes be clouded by personal, party, or external private agenda. Thankfully, there are extraordinary individuals, both within and outside of government, who work to monitor the well-being of our democratic institutions, to ensure that fairness and transparency remain at the forefront of decisions made on our behalf. Sheila Fraser, our distinguished honorary degree candidate here today, is one such individual. In her decade of service as Auditor General of Canada, Sheila Fraser issued report after report demanding a rigorous scrutiny of the actions of the government. The scope of her investigations was broad, but her goal was simple and focused. Insist on public transparency and accountability for those in the highest offices of our country. Sheila Fraser's road to the office of Auditor General began as an accountant at Ernst & Young in 1972. In 1999, she became Deputy Auditor General, and in 2001, she was appointed the first female Auditor General of Canada, reporting directly to the House of Commons on the appropriateness of spending practices and the policies of government. As Auditor General, Sheila Fraser examined myriad issues, such as the costs of the Long Gun Registry, spending concerns from the Office of the Privacy Commissioner, the federal sponsorship scandal, terrorism preparedness after 9/11, harassment complaints about the Federal Integrity Commissioner, and the funding projects of the G8, G20 Summit, and of course, more recently, that Fair Elections Act. No sitting government or opposition was exempted from her scrutiny, and she leveraged the authority of the resources of her office, as well as her own personal and professional integrity, to shed light on issues that threaten the democratic rights of all Canadians. When Sheila Fraser retired from her post in 2011, the CBC called her, quote, one of the most important, not to mention popular, Canadian political figures of the last decade. As you can imagine, Western University is not the first to honor Sheila Fraser for her lifetime of exemplary public service. In 1992, she was awarded the Governor-General's Medal for the 125th anniversary of our nation. In 1994, she was made a Fellow of the Ordre des Comptables Agréés de Québec. The Institute of Chartered Accountants of Ontario followed suit in 2000, bestowing upon her its highest honor. Well over a dozen universities have now awarded her honorary degrees, and I am pleased that today we join our university colleagues in recognizing Sheila Fraser's invaluable work for all Canadians. Throughout her professional life, Sheila Fraser has promoted and insisted upon the values that we rely on for effective governance, namely accountability, transparency, and the protection of the common good. Our governing institutions benefited from her dedication to this task, and as a nation, we are indebted to her for her commitment to this noble work. Mr. Chancellor, in light of her remarkable achievements and her tremendous contribution into the governing structures of Canadian society, and on behalf of the Vice Chancellor and in the name of the Senate, I ask you to confer the degree of Doctors of Laws, honoris causa, upon Sheila Fraser.
There it is. By virtue of the authority vested in me as Chancellor, I admit you to the degree of Doctor of Laws, honoris causa, Congratulations, Dr. Fraser.
Thank you very much.
On behalf of all assembled here today, I should now like to invite our newest alumna, Dr. Sheila Fraser, to address Convocation.
Mr. Chancellor, Mr. President, faculty and staff, honored guests, graduates, parents, ladies and gentlemen, I am deeply honored to receive this degree from the University of Western Ontario. As some of you may know, I grew up on a dairy farm in Quebec, and my parents impressed upon me, my 4 sisters, and my brother the value of education. Well, 2 of my sisters are doctors, 1 is a lawyer, and the other 3 of us, believe it or not, are accountants. I know that my parents would have been very proud to see me receive such a prestigious honor from Western, just as I know that all the mothers and fathers here today are very proud of this year's graduating class, not to mention the grandparents. So my congratulations to all of you. Here you are, degree in hand, ready to start your next adventure. Some of you may be continuing your education, some of you may be heading into the work world, and some of you may be unsure of your next step. Even if your heart is set on a particular direction, you should expect that there will be a few twists and turns along the way, and you might even want to welcome the unexpected. Take it from me, good things can happen if you stay open and attentive to opportunities. After I finished my degree in commerce, I was looking forward to a long stay with a major accounting firm in Montreal. But early in my career, I had the opportunity to transfer to the Quebec City office. I was supposed to go for 2 years and actually ended up staying 22. My French wasn't very good when I first transferred, but I grabbed the opportunity and immersed myself in the new environment. It was difficult, but I learned. And it turned out to be a decision that conferred many gifts, not the least of which was greater understanding of and appreciation for the bicultural nature of our country. And my experience in Quebec was an essential and integral part of my career, leading me to become Auditor General in 2001. It was an honor and a real pleasure for me to serve as Auditor General for 10 years. And it was filled with experiences and challenges that I never could have imagined. And it was an awfully long way from driving that tractor on the farm. Today, I'd like to share with you some of the things that I've learned. First, as I mentioned earlier, stay open to opportunities. I know that some will tell you to plan out your careers, decide where you want to be in 5 or 10 years. I encourage you not to limit yourselves. Do not be so fixated on a goal that you miss a chance to go in a new direction. When I graduated from high school, there were basically 2 career paths for women, teaching and nursing. And I had originally thought I would become a math teacher. I know if I had remained fixed on that path, my life would certainly have been very different. Secondly, stand up for what you believe to be right. The thing that surprised me the most when I was Auditor General was not that some people, and I would stress a very few, misspent public funds or treated their staffs badly. No, what was surprising and very troubling was that other people knew and did nothing. They were afraid to question authority. During your working lives, you may find yourselves in situations where the right thing to do is to speak the truth to someone in authority, truth that may imply a good dollop of criticism. And if so, I encourage you to muster your courage and stand up for what you believe to be right. And I strongly encourage you not to remain in an organization that does not treat its employees with respect. Such an organization cannot be successful, nor can you. And my last piece of advice, one that is dear to my heart, remember to have fun. We all spend so much of our life at work that we owe it to ourselves to take pleasure in our efforts. Work has to have more meaning than a paycheck every 2 weeks. When I started out, I was determined to enjoy my work, and I made a promise to myself that if I didn't enjoy it, if I wasn't learning, and if I wasn't motivated, I would change jobs. And I encourage you to make that same promise to yourself. Your time at King's has prepared you to face the opportunities and challenges ahead. And I hope that you live its values in all that you do: excellence, social justice, respect, and the pursuit of truth. Let me end with one final thought. If you approach your life with the goal of remaining positive and determined, learning all that you can, doing your best, holding fast to your values, and believing in your own unique gifts, you won't have to wait to find success. You are already successful. I thank you again for this honor that you have bestowed me today. Thank you very much.